Good afternoon from RSBN Live in Auburn, Alabama, as we await a business roundtable. President Trump joining in that this late afternoon, early evening. And good evening to you. I am Robert McNeely. Always a joy and a pleasure to be with you. A big day for President Trump as he has purchased a Tesla, apparently, from Elon Musk. If you caught earlier today on the South Portico, enjoying just those great cars that Elon Musk is known for at Tesla. Of course, other projects, including SpaceX, among others. President Trump mentioning on a regular basis, I just don't know how Elon has the time to do all of the things he does. But, you know, one of our sponsors here at Right Side Broadcasting Network can help you spare that time by protecting your financial future. And that's Colonial Metals Group. The great CEO, Paul Stone, who's on the show on a regular basis, is offering really a gift. This free gold guide, I have one right here. It's the complete guide to gold and silver in 2025. And I don't know if you knew this, but in just a short span of roughly 25 years, gold is up 840%. So that's from the year 2000 until now, and up over 7,000% since 1971 when we went off that gold standard back during the Nixon administration. And you can go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN for this no obligation free guide on the house so you can know how to protect your financial future and the financial future for your family. Or scan that QR code as well. Colonial Metals Group has been in the business for a long time, and they are truly the best at this. Whether it's properties, assets, your 401k or IRA, you definitely need the gold and silver to get you over the hedge against inflation, as much of that discussion has been taking place. So thank you to Colonial Metals Group for sponsoring Right Side Broadcasting Network Live. And speaking of that, the questions of a possible recession and things of the matter actually being presented today to Caroline Leavitt during the press secretary conference there down at the White House, of course, in the West Wing. And when she holds those wonderful meetings, we know that the fake news just can't get away from her pointed and great facts that are coming out of this White House on a daily basis. And of course, there's a lot of fake news out there right now, but Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, really alleviating any fears of going into a recession with all these tariffs that are being placed on places like Canada and Mexico and really throughout the world, because President Trump wants to level that playing field, especially with our friends to the north in Canada, because there are Mexican drug cartels that are operating, still sending in fentanyl over our northern border, Canada's southern border, of course, and that has to stop right now. On top of that, Canada has been very unfair to our dairy farmers in Minnesota and Wisconsin, averaging 24% tariff against them on a regular basis. So President Trump really laying out this fair and reciprocal trade agreements so that more money can come pouring into the United States. And we also had an email from the White House Communications Office talking about President Trump's commitment to protecting Medicare and also Social Security. This is one of the attacks in the last week, dating back to that joint session of Congress that he addressed just a week ago. The Trump administration will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits. President Trump himself has said it over and over again. And Elon Musk as well has mentioned this when he has asked. And here's Elon Musk's direct quote: "The waste and fraud in entitlement spending that DOGE has found, which is most of the federal spending in entitlements." So it's like one big thing to eliminate. That's the sort of $500 billion, maybe $600 to $700 billion a year that's gone to these entitlements that DOGE continues to find. And he's exactly right. The fact is, the U.S. Government Accountability Office estimates taxpayers lose as much as $521 billion annually to fraud. And most of that is within the entitlement programs, such as Medicare and Medicaid. Now, over the past 2 decades, the federal government has made an estimated $2.7 trillion in improper payments, and that's the majority of which comes from these payments to deceased individuals or those who are no longer eligible for government programs. The Social Security Administration made an estimated $72 billion in improper payments between 2015 and 2022. Now, the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services estimated it made $140+ billion in improper payments in 2024 alone. So what kind of person doesn't support eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse? And President Trump covered that in his address to the joint session of Congress just last week, just stating that people that are older than the country, of course, not possible, but someone who is over 300 years old is getting Social Security benefits on a regular basis from our federal government. So, of course, the waste, the fraud, the abuse is nonstop in the federal government, and President Trump working diligently with DOGE chairman Elon Musk and his little son X by his side, working hard to streamline the size and scope of the federal government. Thank you to mypillow.com/RSBN. We're big fans here of Mr. Mike Lindell, and we thank him for his sponsorship, someone who's fought so hard for the First Amendment, also the Bill of Rights, and really to make America great again through election integrity. He's been a big advocate for that, but also his day job making a huge difference in the lives of millions of Americans. And that's really because the best way to have a good morning is to have that proper, healthy night of rest. So whether it's the original MyPillow or even the mega sale with MyCross, now 30% off, or the My Flannel Sheets, a great way to get a cozy night's rest, and that's going for $49.98. How about the 6-pack My Towels for $29.98? Extraordinary options from Mr. Mike Lindell. mypillow.com/RSBN, with over 2,000 different items on the website for up to 80% off of everything. Mr. Matthew Alvarez and I, we are big fans of Mr. Mike Lindell and mypillow.com. I have a couple of MyPillows myself, and also, of course, we have a fresh batch of my coffee because we're going through this quickly yesterday. If you might have caught yesterday as well, I won the rock, paper, scissors against Mr. Alvarez, so I enjoyed that last cup and a half of coffee. But MyPillow, free and fairly traded, an extraordinary company, and so great. My coffee, or those My Slippers, as Mr. Alvarez left today, he was wearing those as well. So mypillow.com/RSBN. Check out over 2,000 items for up to 80% off. In other news today, Secretary Duffy of the Transportation Department holding a press conference as well, talking about NTSB's preliminary reports on the plane crashes that took place recently. Some of those you saw live here on Right Side Broadcasting Network as we covered those in real time. And these very informative press conference, you can catch this on YouTube or perhaps one of your favorite social media sites. And Secretary Duffy saying they are taking the preliminary reports and enacting those to make sure air travel is safe. Of course, reiterating that air travel is the safest form of travel in the United States, and that they'll do everything they can to make sure some of these things just don't happen again. And part of it, too, as we've talked to aviation experts on the network, is simply because we live in this 24/7 news cycle. If you saw what happened with Southwest and that small charter jet at Midway International Airport in Chicago, Illinois, of course, that pilot of the small jet did not listen to air traffic control in that situation. Fortunately, the Southwest pilot saw all of that and ended up not only landing but going back into the air to protect everyone on his aircraft and also that small Lear jet. But we've seen situations of the Delta flight from Minneapolis, Minnesota to Toronto, Canada, and how that had flipped over, and what a scary moment. Incredible footage to see because, most people have these things nowadays, and you get to see a lot more footage in real time, and it's a better way to dissect what's actually happening without spreading the rumor mill, of course. But we know that everyone was safe on that flight, and a scary situation if you've ever been in something like that. Personally, I can't think of a time, even though I travel a good amount, where that has happened. But I'm sure that's something that could be life-altering and very scary. So, our thoughts and prayers are with those who do serve in this line of work in transportation, and those who have recently faced these scary times. We do know that this administration, 50 days off of one of the most inept, corrupt, and terrible administrations we've seen in recent memory. And former Secretary Buttigieg was someone who really left the Department of Transportation in a lackluster state of affairs, because DEI hiring was clearly done on a regular basis if we look back at what happened during the Biden administration. I mean, famously now, President Trump is 21-0 in the Senate with confirmations, and his cabinet almost complete, just waiting on the confirmation of Elise Stefanik over for the United Nations mission, or the United States mission to the United Nations. So we're watching that closely. But we do know, if you remember Senator Budd questioning the then NTSB chair, it was someone who was not a pilot, did not know anything about aviation, and seemingly was hired because of his skin color. And President Trump and his team focused on meritocracy. It does not matter your background, the color of your skin. It is your content of character rather than the way you look. It's not about religious preference. It's not about sexual preference. It's about, can you do the job? And President Trump and his cabinet proving that on a daily basis. Thank you to our sponsors here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live, freetrumpbook.com. I got a bunch of these guides that will be great gifts for the kiddos at home. And if you want to jump ahead on your Christmas shopping months beforehand, or maybe even some Easter shopping, as if you give the baskets to the kids at home, these are some great guides here. So we have the Kids Guide to American Greatness. How about the Kids Guide to the Presidential Election? The Kids Guide to Fighting Socialism. How about the Kids Guide to President Trump, of course, and the Kids Guide to Free Markets, the Kids Guide to Free Speech and Cancel Culture. Oh, I love this imagery here. It's sad to think about silencing the Statue of Liberty, but that's what they try to do in some of our schools. How about the Kids Guide to Fighting Indoctrination and the Kids Guide to Democrats and Republicans? Excellent gifts as you're looking to a birthday or Easter or even Christmas celebrations with the young patriots at home with you. But the team of Mike Huckabee, the ambassador to Israel, along with his extraordinary group of people, put out these free guides for young patriots or that neighbor of yours who is simply not paying attention to what's happening in the real world. So a great way to learn about what's happening in our constitutional republic. freetrumpbook.com, freetrumpbook.com. You only have to pay for shipping and handling. So a great deal for these extraordinary guides. And I am definitely getting them for the youngest members of my family, young patriots in the making. Thank you for sponsoring us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, as we are just past the 5 o'clock hour. It is 5 o'clock somewhere, and that is true in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, as we await President Trump at a business roundtable this early evening to listen to some business leaders, give some contributions on where he thinks things are going, possibly squash some fears over a potential recession. Most of that right now you're going to see from fake news outlets, but anytime you put these tariffs into place, there is this question with steel, with car manufacturing, with different things happening around the world that might cause something like this. As we know, our American economy is still the strongest in the world, and we look at everything during quarters, whereas, say, the Chinese Communist Party, they have a 100-year, a 200-year long game plan. They're not throwing Hail Marys. They are running that football for first downs. And we sometimes, as really a consumer capitalist society, look at things in the short term, sometimes far too closely. And President Trump's mission here with the tariffs, very similar to what President William McKinley did with during his time, his short tenure in office, bring money into the United States. And if you look at the late 1800s, the late 19th century, we had the richest country really in our existence when you compare that to modern times versus the GDP and that growth that took place during the late 1800s. We had so much money that blue ribbon commissions were made to send out money to education facilities and schools and different things to fund, because we just didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know how to spend it because we did so well. And then something President Trump is attempting to accomplish, along with getting rid of the deficit, getting rid of the debt. And he is a brilliant guy. I mean, he's someone who knows how to handle money and how to handle it in the debt. In fact, Amazon Prime, for those members of that great service, you do know you could go watch the Apprentice reruns from roughly the last 16 seasons, I believe it was on, and that was such a great show. NBC begged President Trump, please, 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 don't run for president. Stay here and host The Apprentice, whether it's the Celebrity Apprentice, whether it's the regular Apprentice. I was fortunate enough in my career to work with some alumni from that great show, several of them from True Social, in fact, and it was great growing up in middle school and high school, watching that show, learning some things, invaluable lessons about money from the perspective of Donald Trump's real estate empire. And something, if you have not caught that show, I implore you, go back and watch it. If you have Amazon Prime, you can catch that first season now. And you truly get a glimpse into the mind of President Donald Trump and his ability to really know markets and know business very well. So a great lesson in reality TV and in business. And what's great about that show, it truly is reality TV. It was not scripted. It was simply these meetings and these scenarios, going out and training the ultimate winners of The Apprentice. And of course, the first winner, Bill Rancic of the great city of Chicago, Illinois. So a man who is very well known now in the cigar business, and his beautiful wife Juliana have done so much for philanthropy as well. So go back and watch that if you can, Amazon Prime. We love our sponsors here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live, and PatriotAddictDeals.com has come out with 100 more of the Trump Force One planes. I have one of these myself, and I love walking in to see that beautiful plane sitting there right on the coffee table. Just a great reminder of not only American history, but of the form of transportation that got President Trump from coast to coast after he came down that golden escalator nearly a decade ago now with our beautiful First Lady, Melania Trump, in order to make America great again. You can own this piece of history, this replica, and let me tell you too, this is the first time it's been out since last year, so it will go fast. You want to get yours today with RSBN code RSBN20, 20% off of this great replica plane of Trump Force One. PatriotAddictDeals.com. Get yours today. And we are awaiting, during this happy hour on the East Coast, President Trump getting ready for a business roundtable. Excited to see what comes out of this today. Of course, he's purchased a Tesla from the great Elon Musk earlier on the South Lawn and was flanked by reporters regarding a number of different questions, whether it be on tariffs, on a potential recession, also manufacturing in America, domestic policy, and of course, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And breaking news just within the last hour, President Zelensky of Ukraine is ready for a peace agreement, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio speaking to Ukrainian and Russian officials, hosted by the Saudi Arabian government, of course, over in Saudi Arabia. This bilateral discussion taking place, really trilateral, with the help as well of the Saudis to oversee this peace deal as well, American-led, in order to bring this war to an end. And it looks as if President Zelensky, who was brazen and ghoulish and just really very unfair to President Trump and quite frankly rude to our wonderful Vice President J.D. Vance just a few short days ago, now coming to terms that peace is the best move forward. So we will see if he ultimately does sign that, and President Trump feels comfortable right now to bring that peace deal over to the Russians. So we'll keep our eyes on this, and perhaps by the end of the week, we can ultimately see a ceasefire. This is a huge development when you think about it, because when President Zelensky of Ukraine was at the White House with President Trump, he said that this war would go on for a long, long time. And of course, he threatened the American people, saying that you have this ocean right now, but you will feel the ramifications of this war. And President Trump stopping him and said, "You've talked enough. We're not going to feel this. Don't tell us what we're going to feel." President Trump felt a direct threat as a result of what Zelensky said in the Oval Office. And it was one of the most ridiculous displays of ignorance, perhaps in the Oval Office in a long time. And President Trump, Vice President Vance, taking care of that and saying, politely, "Please leave the White House when you're back for peace, when you're ready to negotiate that. We are willing, ready, and able to talk." But quite frankly, Ukraine does not have the cards in hand to make a difference and to stop this. So the best way is to call for the ceasefire. And this is the sad part about all of this. And how we feel here at Right Side Broadcasting Network is this is a very, very difficult situation. War is a terrible thing. But the Russian people and the Ukrainian people and the Polish people, the Belarusian people who are up against that Russian border, they felt enough of this. And they're all great cultures that date back centuries. Their people are some of the most warm and generous and just fun people you could ever be around. We were with some Polish friends as well from TV Republica, enjoying our time at CPAC. They are outstanding, and enough is enough. Ukraine and Russia have bad leaders, quite frankly, whether that be Vladimir Putin or Vladimir Zelensky. But that does not mean President Trump should not dialogue. It's harder to reach peace. It's much easier just to aim weapons and to fire weapons. It takes a real man. It takes great leadership to call for peace through strength in this world. And we've seen this all led by President Trump's efforts because his goal is to get along with everybody. It's good that he has a strong relationship with Putin. It's good that he will call someone like Zelensky to task, but also be willing to sit down with him and have those hard discussions. And this includes our friends over in the UK. And we saw that with Prime Minister Starmer when he came to town. King Charles II, His Majesty, inviting President Trump and Mrs. Trump to a great banquet in the UK. So we'll see all that upcoming. We're going to toss that to that business roundtable now with President.
Thank you very much. It's a good group out there. That's a good, don't get better, actually. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back to the Business Roundtable. We're very honored that you would agree to accept our invitation in the first BRT meeting after your inauguration.
That's true. Actually, that's true. And I have a lot of friends in the audience, a couple that I don't like particularly much, but for the most part, very good.
And as we were talking about backstage, this is the largest attendance that we've ever had at a Business Roundtable meeting.
Well, it's a great honor. Thank you.
So if you don't mind, we'll jump in.
Okay.
So first of all, congratulations on the ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia today. That was hugely significant, as you know.
Well, it's Ukraine, but we hope to get Russia. It turned out to be I've been saying that Russia's been easier to deal with so far than Ukraine, which is not supposed to be the way it is, but it is, and we hope to get Russia. But we have a full ceasefire from Ukraine. That's good.
That's very good. And then the people in this room, and we're going to tie us back together. The people in this room obviously are very interested in all the conversations going on around trade and tariffs that are important here. And then you've also had a large-scale effort to root out wasteful spending in the federal government. And I believe there's a thread that kind of ties all that together, and I'm just curious if you could share with us what that is.
Well, it's basically make America great again. We have a bloated, very dishonest in many cases federal government and bureaucracy that's been a long time coming. Somebody should have done this many years ago. And we're cutting numbers that nobody's ever seen before. DOGE, as we call it, affectionately. You've been all hearing that term a lot. Elon's been doing really a fantastic job. He suffers a little bit because of it. People go after him. But actually, I think in the end it'll maybe reverse itself and be just the opposite. That's happened before. There's people that they tend to go after one group or another, but basically it's the other. They go after conservatives, and when somebody stands up and fights, their business ends up doubling. You can see that. Just a little example. Goya Foods, he was just a wonderful man, the owner and the family, and largely Hispanic foods. And they went after him because he supported me. And this was the end of the first term. And he fought back, and it ended up that he ended up tripling his business. And it's today a much bigger business than it was before. And there are many examples of that. And maybe it's going to be that way with Elon. When I saw what was happening with this, the concerted effort by I think they're paid agitators. And when I saw what was happening, I said, I want to buy a Tesla. And we just went to the front. He had 4 beautiful cars there. And I bought one in front of the press. It was a very public purchase. And they're beautiful and do a great job. Very good competitors with Mary and everybody else. He's done a great job. And he shouldn't be sacrificed or have to suffer because he wants to help government. It's not that he's a Republican, which he's, not the strong. I mean, sometimes I'm not even sure what he is in terms of his philosophies. But he's a great guy. He's a patriot. He wants to see the country straightened out. And he's done a fantastic job with DOGE. We've found massive fraud, abuse, waste. And we had many, many jobs where there was nobody working but getting a check. We had contracts that expired years ago, but they were continuously being paid. Probably, I'll bet you it's $500 billion perhaps if you add it up so far. And we're trying to get to $1 trillion. That's a big number. And he did have an ability to do something that a lot of people didn't think of. He'd come in with bigger ideas. We'd say, we want you to cut down the size of your agency by 2%. And we thought that was good. He came in, he said 80%. I said, what the hell's going on? 80%. And largely, we had to do it carefully, and we had some little hiccups, not big hiccups. But we saved a tremendous amount of money for the future. This is going into the future. And in some cases, it would be 80, and in some cases, it would be 5% or 2% or 3%, depending on the agency. And you can almost, you're all great professionals, the top, and you can almost look at some of the agencies and see which ones had to be cut and which ones didn't. Also in terms of their importance and in terms of being current. So we saved a tremendous amount of money. And I think, I don't know if it's going to reach $1 trillion, but it's going to reach a lot. And it was an honor to have Michael there yesterday. You got to see a little bit of it. We had a conference. And a lot of investment coming into our country, much more than I've ever seen. Apple is investing $500 billion. IBM was with us yesterday, and they're investing a lot. Just companies all over. I could name them. You've read most of them, many of them. But hundreds of billions of dollars is being invested. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't win the election, number one. And I think, number two, the tariffs are having a tremendously positive impact. They will have, and they are having. We have car companies that are not building in Mexico now. They're building in the United States. Some of them, the plants were already started, and they stopped construction, and now they're going to build in the United States. It was very unfair. They'd build in Mexico and sell them across the border with no tax, no nothing. They'd take away our jobs. They'd close up places in Michigan and all over the country, and they'd build them in Mexico. In many cases, they were owned by China. Built in Mexico, owned by China. And that's all stopped now. They're all coming here. Honda is building a massive plant in different places, Indiana, South Carolina, but also in Michigan, a lot in Michigan. A lot of activity is happening. They're looking all over the place for places, and that's because there is a good spirit. There's a renewed spirit, and also, very importantly, the tariffs are, they don't want to pay 25% or whatever it may be. It may go up higher, maybe go up higher. Look, the higher it goes, the more likely it is they're going to build. And ultimately, the biggest win is not the tariff. That's a big win. That's a lot of money. But the biggest win is if they move into our country and produce jobs. That's a bigger win than the tariffs themselves, but the tariffs are going to be throwing off a lot of money to this country. And we've been ripped off for years by other countries, many, many decades, and they were doing the same thing. But I think we'll do it better, and I think we have a bigger advantage because we really are the piggy bank. They weren't.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've also mentioned rebuilding the American top priority. And I guess, what's your strategy to lower the overall cost of living, make everyday expenses more?
And President Trump wrapping up a business roundtable today in Washington, D.C. Of course, you can get all your America First updates and exclusive offers right here at rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. And I just love the 5 o'clock hour, that beautiful sunset over Washington, D.C. And we hope that springing ahead has been good for all of you at home with daylight savings. Hey, there's a good question. Do you like daylight savings or not? If you wish to opine, maybe make a comment on YouTube, on Rumble, or wherever you are watching today, because, you know, President Trump was asked that question in the Oval Office recently, and he said, well, you know, about half the people absolutely love it, about half don't like it so much. So it puts him in a precarious situation to a certain extent. But I know I really enjoy having that longer hour. So when we are on the night side or the afternoon shift, we were just talking with Mr. Producer about, oh my goodness, we get a little bit more daylight later on to enjoy the evening, and you can smell that spring is in the air and winter somewhat coming to a close. Of course, it depends upon, you know, where you live in the country, but down south here, we're seeing sunshine as well, and that's 70-degree weather. So always nice to see that. President Trump having a big day once again, really highlighting all of his agenda items and what he's looking to accomplish. The really big thing on the dais this week is getting that CR passed. That's a big thing. Even mentioning on True Social, calling out Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, saying that he will probably need to be primaried because he doesn't like the fun and games that keep going on with his office. And, you know, that's something that might have to happen because you have certain people that are trying to make a name for themselves on Capitol Hill and really want to criticize the agenda and the process of 50 days that have been truly extraordinary coming from the executive branch at the White House. And President Trump committing to keeping the government open. He says that the Democrats want nothing more than to shut down the government in an attempt to slow down everything happening with DOGE and with the cabinet, as well as they move swiftly to make America safe, healthy, strong, and ultimately great again. And we need to keep that open. So CR must be passed in order to do that, especially in order to continue with the deportations of illegal criminals. Also, it seems as if the White House doubling down on those issues with the Palestinian pro-Hamas protesters on the college campuses, especially with Columbia University. It seems as if those who continue to spread hate and violence on the campuses will end up being deported and have their green cards revoked in the process and their student visas as well. So President Trump being very aggressive on these matters. We will keep watch on all America First updates for you, the American people. Stick with us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live as we thank our sponsors. Colonial Metals Group. It's a great place to go to figure out everything you need to do for your retirement. I got their free gold guide right here. The 2025 Guide to Gold and Silver. Scan that QR code now to get access to this. Also, you can go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN for all the information. This highlights here how gold has gone up 840% since 2000, up over 7,000% since 1971 when we went off that gold standard. So Colonial Metals Group, the great Paul Stone, the CEO, who comes on here on a regular basis to talk everything gold, silver, and to fight against inflation. How about that angelpaste.com, a wonderful miracle cream out of Spring, Texas. This is a Christian-run company that hires veterans. Angelpaste.com. Experience the miracle today with so many options when it comes to a mosquito repellent, all natural, non-GMO, no chemicals, everything going on your skin, absorbed by your skin, should be healthy, and this company has that for you. So visit angelpaste.com. Also check out their immune option. The orange is quite wonderful and smells very, very nice. Also, men, there's a black label, so don't worry about this just being for the ladies, also for you as well. Angelpaste.com. So check that out today. How about Byrna.com/RSBN, a great alternative to deadly force. This has the ability to incapacitate attackers by 30 minutes. Because it shoots out these really incredible pellets, also has a tear gas component. And what's different than other CO2 devices, once it fires, it then punctures it. It's not as if you will lose the CO2 after shooting once. It reseals itself. Amazing technology. Save 10% now at Byrna.com/RSBN. Scan that QR code. They are also very pro 2A. So this is not as if it's something that is against having gun rights. We want you to have your Second Amendment rights. So does Byrna. But there are rogue DAs out there who seek to prosecute you for simply defending yourself, your bodily autonomy, and your property. So Byrna.com/RSBN, a great alternative to deadly force. And Mr. Director, that sponsor once again? Oh, MyPillow.com/RSBN. Love Mr. Mike Lindell, the fighter of free speech, election integrity, and everything. When it comes to the Bill of Rights, someone who loves this country, has been open about his faith. You can now receive his exact replica My Cross. Save 30% off with a mega sale. How about a 6-pack of My Towels for $29.98, or those comfy flannel sheets for $44.98. Support Mike Lindell and RSBN by shopping now. 2,000 items for up to 80% off. I mean, what better deal is out there, maybe other than the Tesla deals that are out there right now with President Trump and Elon Musk. But MyPillow.com/RSBN. Give them a call, 800-836-7566. Support Mr. Mike Lindell, all he does for America with his great outlet in Minnesota. No one better in the business. If you want a great morning, it starts with your evening. Go to MyPillow.com/RSBN. And we are so happy to be live here with you at Right Side Broadcasting Network as we catch a beautiful glimpse of the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You know, a museum and an office place, but also the residence of the First Family. And President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump working around the clock in order to make America great again. We are going to actually toss back to President Trump and Elon Musk, the DOGE chairman, with the Teslas outside of the South Lawn today. If you did not catch that earlier, we're going to play that back for you and show you just how amazing it was to see President Trump get in the red S version.
Looks good.
Take number 2.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Hello, everyone.
Beautiful. Anybody know who he is?
Hello.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, President Trump. Are you looking to buy or lease today?
Well, I'm going to buy, and I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets, and number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this, and I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot. And he's a great patriot. And he's also done an incredible job with Tesla. And I mean, nobody else has a car company started up in the last 30 years that's been successful. I don't think so. And not only successful, but super successful. And because he's able to find billions and billions and billions of dollars of fraud and waste and all of the things. I mean, our country is going to be very strong very soon because of a lot of the things that he's done and a lot of the things that I'm doing. And there's no better team, but there's no better for what we're doing. There's nobody like this, and he shouldn't be penalized. And when I watched the other day, I said, I can't believe it. It should be the opposite. People should be going wild, and they love the product, but because he's finding all sorts of terrible things that have taken place against our country, they want to penalize him in a economic sense, and I just think that's very unfair. So I just wanted to make a statement. I'm going to buy one. Now, here's the bad news. I'm not allowed to drive because I haven't driven a car in a long time, and I love to drive cars. But I'm going to have it at the White House, and I'm going to let my staff use it. I'm going to let people at the place use it, and they all are all excited about that. I'm not allowed to use it. Can you believe it? One of my great things in life is that I can, I like to drive cars, but I'm not allowed to. And I will say this one, the Cybertruck, I bought for a very special young woman. Do you know? I'm sure you've never heard of her, Kai. And she's a great golfer, and she puts the clubs in the back, and I guess it's a very safe deal. She loves it. And I actually bought one about a year ago, and she loves it. And it's very safe, it's very strong, heavy. It's all steel, stainless steel. But the cars themselves, so what is this one, Elon?
That's the Model Y.
That's a Model Y, so I have a lot of information, including the price.
Yeah.
I want to make a good deal here. I do notice this. They have one, which is $35,000, which is pretty low. What is that all about?
Yeah, it's, I guess we wanted to make the point that Teslas aren't all expensive. You can get a Tesla for as little as $35,000.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank the president for his support. This means a lot. And also thank everyone out there who is supporting Tesla. It's really terrible that there's so much violence being perpetrated against people at Tesla, Tesla supporters, Tesla owners, Tesla stores. These are innocent people who've done nothing wrong.
But nobody's been, it hasn't been, there's been some physical damage, a little damage, and we want to keep it that way because I don't want to say this, it's just not the appropriate, but law enforcement's out there watching everybody. We don't want this to happen. And not to somebody that's been so good to our country. He didn't have to do this. He didn't have to go through this. And we can't let it happen. And aside from that, I happen to love the product. It's a lot nicer if you also happen to love the product. And he's done a really good job. Go ahead, Peter.
Is there, I guess this is for Elon Musk, is there a discount? President Trump wrote the art of the deal. Is there any kind of room for negotiating here?
Let me answer that. I know he'd give me a discount, but honestly, I don't want to ask for one. I'm president, so I want to pay full price.
And what is your message, President Trump? Buying a new car while there are some folks who will see this clip at home and they are struggling with their retirement accounts down at the moment, uncertainty about work ahead.
Well, I think they're going to do great. I think our country had to do this. We had to go and do this. They've taken away, other countries have taken away our business. They've taken away our jobs. I did it initially very strongly against, as you know, China and some others in the first term. And it was a very successful term. We had no inflation. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And then we had COVID, which we had to straighten out, so I didn't want to be doing anything with respect to other countries at that time. And we did a great job with it. We handed the stock market over. It was higher than it ever was. And think of that, higher than it ever was to that point before. And nobody thought that was even possible. We did a great job. But we had the greatest economy in history. This economy, in my opinion, is going to blow it away. But what I have to do is I have to get the workers back. I have to get the factories open. We have 90,000 factories and plants are closed from what you had just prior to NAFTA, which is not very long ago. 90,000, think of it, 90,000 factories and plants are closed from what it was, and it's just not right. So, and we gave it away. Presidents before me gave it away, and I could name every one of them. But they gave it away, and we're taking it back. We're taking our jobs back. And one of the things I'll say, by the way, speaking of Tesla, he manufactures more cars. I mean, he opened this incredible plant, one of the largest plants in the world, in Texas. Could you talk about that, Elon?
Yeah, it's worth noting that the Tesla cars have the most U.S. content of any cars on the market, so they're the most American-made. We have the biggest factory and the most advanced automotive factory in Texas that we've opened and continue to expand. And so this is very much these are great products. A Model S is one best car ever. So all these cars have won incredible awards. So they're great cars and they're American made. And I think, try it. You'll like it.
And I'm just saying, beyond the cars, they're great. But we have to celebrate somebody that has the courage to do this. He could have said, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to get involved. Let the country go to hell. He didn't want to do that. And remember, he's going to find, and we're up to almost $500 billion worth of waste and fraud and abuse. $500 billion. We give him $2 billion here, $2 billion there, not millions. It was a bet. If it was $1 million or $2 million, that's a lot of money. But we're talking about billions of dollars being given to defunct, scams, given to people with nothing. They have nothing going. They open up a subchapter S corporation, and they put $2 billion into it from nowhere. And we've caught a lot of them. I wish we could catch all of them, but we've caught a lot of them. And he's been largely responsible. So we have to celebrate him. And it's not that he's conservative. I don't even know if he's conservative. I will tell you this.
These days,
I've been doing this I've known him for a pretty long time. He endorsed me. I didn't know him that well when he endorsed me. But in the time I've known him, he has never asked me for a favor. He didn't ask me for this. I said, Elon, I don't like what's happening to you. And Tesla's a great company. I don't like what's happening. It's, from our standpoint, American cars, American made. He employs thousands of people. He's got, at the same time, he has the most modern plants in the world. I said, I don't like what's happened to you. I'm going to do it. I didn't even know he was going to come. He's never asked me for anything. He endorsed me, and he never asked me. I didn't even know he was going to endorse me. The guy has never asked me. He's not saying, in fact, I could go a step further. I ended the electric mandate. Okay, I ended the electric mandate, and I figured, when's this guy calling to raise hell with me? And he never called. I mean, he never called me. If I were him, I would have called.
So on that,
because he's probably even better than I am.
Mr. President, is Elon Musk rubbing off on you? Is electric then the way to go?
It's not that this isn't for electric or gas, because people have their choices.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I know people that have these cars. I know one man, we see him all the time. Yeah. He has 5 of them.
Yeah.
He thinks it's and he was a big guy for Ferraris and other things. And he says, man, it blows him away. I know other people, they have 3, 4, they love them. They love them. And some people like the gas, and they should have their options.
Right.
I'm all about options. But I'm telling you, I ended the electric mandate, and I was waiting for a call. I said, did Elon call yet? They said, no, sir. The next day, what about Elon? Did he call? He never even mentioned it to me, never complained. Until this moment, I'm just bringing it up. Who would do that? Yeah. He has never asked me for a thing. And he's built this great company, and he shouldn't be penalized because he's a patriot. He's an incredible patriot. And I don't even know if he's a Republican. I really don't.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Stock market dropped today.
Well, I'm not sure if he was. Well, you're going to have
stock is also
drops, and markets are going to go up, and they're going to go down.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have to rebuild our country. Our country has been stripped of its jobs, of its factories. And I'm tired of seeing where they build apartments, cheap apartments in an old broken down factory. But you have factories all over the place that are empty from many decades ago. And we're going to change it around. And it's all taxing policy. You know, it's really a policy because we have great workers, great people. It's really a policy of taxing and incentives. And I'm bringing the incentives back. And I'll tell you what, numerous plants, and I don't want to mention specifically, but I'll mention this one. Numerous plants in Mexico and other places that were under construction or soon to be under construction
are now coming here, and they've dropped that because it was unfair what was happening. Mexico, they were building cars. They were selling them into the United States with no tax, no nothing. And in the United States, we were allowing them to take our jobs and take our factories, and we don't do that anymore. Now, from a president, it would be a lot easier if I just coasted for another 4 years. I would have been an 8-year president. I had the best economy in history in my first 4 years. I would have done very well with this one. And I had a decision to make. Do I want to do this or do I not? Do I want to do it right? The right thing to do is what we're doing. We're going to get our jobs back, and we're not going to be laughed at. Now, I will say this, that already Canada, and I respect very much, as you know, there's a very strong man in Canada who said he was going to charge a surcharge or a tariff on electricity coming into our country. He has called, and he said he's not going to do that. Okay, he's not going to do that. And it would have been a very bad thing if he did, and he's not going to do that, so I respect that. But we were just informed that he's not going to do that. Look, we've been treated very unfairly by Canada. We've been treated very unfairly by Mexico. But we've been treated very unfairly by every country all over the world. The European Union is horrible, horrible. And we're going to get it back. And I have a choice. I could just coast, and eventually there'd be a blow-up down the road, maybe a long way. But we owe $36 trillion, and we're going to get it back. We're the biggest, we're the best, and I'm very optimistic. I have to tell you, I'm very optimistic about the country. Much more optimistic this way than if I did it the easy way. Yeah. I could have done it the easy way. I could have coasted. Biden left us a mess. He left us tremendous inflation, tremendously high costs of products. He left us a mess, but he also left us a mess with millions of people that poured into our country that are criminals. Millions of those people happen to be criminals. And we're looking for them all over the place. We're looking for them. And Homan and Christie are doing an incredible job. But he left us a horrible situation, and we're changing it. But one of the things we're changing is we're going to make our country really wealthy again. We're going to bring our jobs back. Right now, we're like a chicken that's being plucked at from all over the world. We're not going to let that happen anymore.
Mr. President,
but very importantly, and I said it, Ukraine, ceasefire. Ukraine, ceasefire. Just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia, and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes. I get the reports. And they're not American soldiers. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. But people are being killed outside of that. People are being killed in the cities as things explode throughout the cities. And we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on, and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. President, you mentioned the ups and downs in the stock market. You said it'll go up, it'll go down. But do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil we're seeing this week?
Biden gave us a horrible economy. He gave us horrible inflation. And I think the market was going to go very, very bad. If anything, I have a lot of very smart people, friends of mine and great businessmen. They're now investing because of what I'm doing. Because long term, what I'm doing is making our country strong again, financially strong, militarily strong, and strong if we want to get away. Remember this, we have wars. When I left, we had no wars. We didn't have Ukraine and Russia. We didn't have October 7th. We didn't have that disaster that took place with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And you look at what's happened there. We caught the major terrorist, which Biden wouldn't have caught. Why didn't he catch him? I caught him. 5 weeks into the presidency, I caught the man responsible for Abbey-gate. And he's going to pay hell right now. He's a bad dude. He's a bad guy. But we didn't have these problems. I had no inflation. I had a great economy. He gave you high prices. You couldn't buy bacon. You couldn't buy anything. And also, I inherited a situation with eggs. The price of eggs was through the roof. Well, now the price of eggs has come down a lot. Interest rates have come down. Gasoline prices have come down. It's all coming down. It's all a beautiful thing. I can do it the right way or the wrong way. We're doing it the right way. And I have tremendous confidence in this country and the people of this country, tremendous confidence, much more so than if I sat back for 4 years and had a good time in the Oval Office. I want to look at cars.
Mr. President, I have an announcement to make that I think will be helpful. I want to say, as a function of the great policies of President Trump and his administration, and as an act of faith in America, Tesla is going to double vehicle output in the United States within the next 2 years.
That's a big deal. That's good. Thank you. And by the way, he makes one car. This one I don't understand. This one I don't want, but that's okay. Without a steering wheel. It comes out next year, right?
Yes.
Explain that, please.
Yes. Well, the Cybercab starts production in Texas next year, and it's self-driving. We have so much confidence in the self-driving nature of it that it'll actually not have a steering wheel. It will not have pedals. It'll either self-drive or not drive at all, but it'll self-drive.
President Trump,
And I'm going to pass on that particular.
before this event today, when's the last time you bought a new car?
Wow. Well, I buy a lot through my children because they run the company now. I used to buy a lot. I haven't bought a new car in a long time.
What was your first car?
The only thing I know is the Beast. I got a big car with very thick windows and thick side panels.
Is that going electric? Is the Beast going electric?
We buy a lot of cars. Actually, I bought this one for Kai.
Do you remember your first car?
The Ontario Premier calling you and giving you his decision about the electricity surcharge, and you said you were pleased about that. Will you make a different decision now about the tariffs on Canada? Will you reduce it?
At that, but probably so. Yeah, he was a gentleman. He was a gentleman. Look, I said it before. We give Canada $200 billion a year. We subsidize Canada between all of the things we give them and trade. We give them. We don't have to have cars made in Canada. We don't have to have lumber from Canada. We have tremendous lumber. We have tremendous trees. All I have to do is unfreeze them from some of the restrictions that we're put on. I can do that with an executive order. We don't need energy. We have more energy than anybody else in the world. So we spend $200 billion a year subsidizing Canada. We don't have to do that. And frankly, the way that gets solved is Canada should honestly become our 51st state. We wouldn't have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a tariff problem. They don't have much. They spend very little, as you know, the least of almost anybody on military. And we spend the most of anybody on military. We have a great military. I rebuilt the military during my first time. We're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again. Not that much, but we're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again. But Canada would be great as our cherished 51st state. You wouldn't have to worry about borders. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. And by the way, Canada is very highly taxed, and we're very low tax. We're considered a low tax nation because of me, because I cut the taxes so low. So the people of Canada would pay much less tax. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, "Rah." Well, when you take away that and you look at that beautiful formation of Canada and the United States, there is no place anywhere in the world that looks like that. It's so.
Greenland?
And then if you add Greenland, that's even. That's pretty good.
It's going to look beautiful.
Okay? I'm going to look at this. I'm going to make a decision. Do you want to hear what my decision?
Let's see it.
Okay. What's your best of these cars? What do you think?
Well, the car that I drive is the Model S Plaid.
Which is that one?
That red one in the middle.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2 seconds. So faster than a Ferrari.
That's pretty fast. I don't know if my people can handle it. They're going to be using it more. I'm not allowed to use it.
That's fast.
That's a fast one.
Just to be clear,
That's
for
beautiful.
the 50%, is that going to go into effect on Canada or no?
Which one?
The 50% tariffs?
I'll let you know about it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you. But I appreciated his call. I thought it was nice. This is beautiful. Whoa! Should I get in?
Get in.
Okay. Let me get in this second.
On the Tesla?
Do you want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. I said, I'm not Biden. I don't need notes.
Yeah. I can take it.
Thank you. Let me get into this sector. I'll watch Secret Service go crazy. Thank you.
I mean, if you actually drove it around, it would really be
that's
well.
beautiful. That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, it's just a brake and an accelerator.
I don't want to.
Give Secret Service a heart attack.
That's beautiful.
Can you start it?
Should I? I'll
Oh, it's gonna get around the hole. So, do you want to actually drive it?
You don't want me to drive it, do you? Roundtable to make it a little while. I just considered this much more important because I want to buy one of these. My whole staff is so excited because I told them they're going to safely use them, and they can't believe it. So Margot, wherever you are, Margot, she's going to use it. They're all going to be using it, and they're going to have a good time using it. And if I can, oh, there you are, Margot. Look at Margot's right there. What are you, a member of the press now? I think she's become a member of the press. Takes great pictures. What do you think of it, Margot? Do you like the idea?
I love it.
Okay, good.
We're going to have fun.
They're very happy.
Mr. President, your comments the other day not ruling out a potential recession seemed to rattle the stock markets. The Commerce Secretary said there wouldn't be one.
Just so you know.
Just specifically on the recession.
Yeah.
Do you
I think this
there will be a
country,
recession?
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. But as I said, I can do it the easy way or the hard way. The hard way to do it is exactly what I'm doing, but the results are going to be 20 times greater.
Mr. President.
And remember, Trump is always right, right? The hat.
And what do you say to
If
Americans?
you look at what I've said over the last 10 years, Trump has been right all the time. This is the way to do it. We're going to make America great again. You know, to make it great, you have to have jobs, you have to have factories, you have to have. I look at some of the things that, like this last administration. He was the worst president in the history of our country. Nothing was happening. Nothing. He had no idea what was going on. Our country went to hell. And then to allow millions of people to come in that are prisoners and mental institution patients and all of the things, gang members, drug lords, we're searching them all down now, trying to get them out of our country. And we're going to do that. But on the financial end and the economic end, what we're doing is, to me, it's the most exciting. Our country will be greater than ever before, and it won't take too long.
And what's your message to Americans right now, sir, who are worried about the stock market? What's your message to them as they watch it?
That's pretty much the same. The Cybertruck is worth. Have you been?
Let's go see the Cybertruck. I did buy one of these.
So this is bulletproof.
I mean, look, in terms of imagination, I think I have a great imagination. Who else but this guy would design this, and everybody on the road is looking at it? It's amazing, actually. As soon as I saw it, I said, that is the coolest design. It's. Do you agree with that, Brian? I mean,
I do.
It's amazing.
Very cool. Yeah.
You got to give him credit.
We want the future to look like the future, and it's kind of what kind of truck would Blade Runner drive? That was the design idea.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Elon, are you planning to remain CEO of Tesla while working with President Trump? Is there any thinking on the future at the company? As we're talking about Tesla, I'm wondering where you're thinking of being.
Yeah. I'm CEO of Tesla, and
He should.
yeah.
Any more plans on additional vehicles besides what you have now?
Well, we've got the Cybercab coming out next year.
The
Which
one
is,
with no steering wheel. Are you gonna buy one of those? We'll pass. We're too old-fashioned.
Yeah.
So, Mr. President, when you look at the market selling off, that didn't concern you, and
Nope,
where do you see it
doesn't
going?
concern me. I think some people are going to make great deals by buying stocks and bonds and all the things they're buying. I think we're going to have an economy that's a real economy, not a fake economy. It was a fake economy. They were putting in all government jobs. You see what happened last month? We had more real jobs, and government jobs are way down. That's going to continue. Those are real jobs. Those are jobs that keep the country going. You can't have all government jobs. You have no income to pay the workers.
Yeah.
And a lot of those workers didn't show up to work. That was the other problem.
And President Trump, there's this protest leader from Columbia University that the administration is moving to deport. And he said that his arrest is going to be the first of many. How many?
I think we ought to get them all out of the country. They're troublemakers. They're agitators. They don't love our country. We ought to get them the hell out. I think that guy, we ought to get him. I heard his statements, too. They were plenty bad. And I think we ought to get him the hell out of the country. I watched him. I watched tapes specifically. I watched tapes. And you can have them, okay? You can have them. And you can have the rest of them. Let them go to school. Let them learn. Columbia used to be a good school. Now it's been overrun because of bad leadership. That's what happens. Happens to countries, and it happens to universities, and it happens to companies. And I don't want it to happen to a guy that did nothing wrong. He did everything right because he did a great company. But what he did by coming into government to help government from years of abuse, from decades of abuse, and you see that when you look at Social Security, where you have 200-year-old people on the rolls of society. That's just, he uses the word care. People don't care. Everyone knows that. But it's also, I believe it's also large fraud. I think it's that. But I think it's also large fraud. So I'm just telling people, this man is a great patriot, and you should cherish him. You should cherish him. You know, I have a little statement. We have to take care of our high IQ people because we don't have too many of them. And we got to take care of them.
As you guys look at the Social Security Administration, and you guys are looking for fraud and waste and abuse, can you guarantee people who are concerned about an interruption to benefits that there will not be?
Yes, we're going to be very careful with any interruption to benefits. In fact, only by tackling the waste and fraud in entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, can we actually preserve those programs for the future. Because with unchecked fraud and waste, we won't be able to afford them. The president's very dedicated to solving the budget deficit, which if we don't solve the budget deficit, we're going to go bankrupt as a country. If we go bankrupt as a country, there's no Social Security, there's no Medicare, there's no nothing. And to sort of echo what the president was saying, what really matters is moving people from jobs that are relatively low productivity in government to high productivity in the private sector, increasing the true output of products and services. That's the real economy. That's what actually enables Americans to have a higher standard of living, and that's what's happening. And that's, I think, you'll see the truth of that in the months to come.
And we're going to make it really much stronger by taking people that don't exist or taking people that shouldn't be there out, by taking illegal aliens that are on Social Security or Medicaid and Medicare. By taking them out, we're making it much stronger. The country will be much stronger, but it's going to really be stronger economically. And when you look at what we're doing, I've been called by so many companies. Yesterday, as you know, I had a meeting with some of the biggest tech companies in the world. And all they're talking about, IBM was there. We had a lot of them. Dell, Michael Dell was there. We had a lot of great companies, Hewlett Packard. And all they're talking about is investing in this country. They want to be sure. Don't forget, they're looking down the road 10 years and 15 years. They want to make sure we have a strong country. They're all coming in. As you know, Apple, Tim Cook, he said that he's going to invest $500 billion in the United States. He never did that before. He invested in China. He's got his plants in China. And now he's got them going to be building in the United States. And if I didn't have victory in that election, he wouldn't be doing it. And if I didn't say what I'm saying, and I'm being very honest, and it's much more difficult than just sitting around and having a great time. It's a very glamorous position if you want to do that. We could have kept it, but eventually bad things would have happened. This way, good things. I'm very optimistic about the country. I think we're going to have the greatest markets we've ever had, and it's going to be really fueled by what we're doing. You had to see these companies yesterday. They're investing billions and trillions. They're investing trillions of dollars here. They wouldn't have invested 10 cents.
Mr. President, will you talk to Vladimir Putin about this ceasefire deal? Do you think you need to have a conversation with him to get the Russians to
I'll
agree?
talk to Vladimir Putin, yeah. I want to get, look, that's the other, it takes two to tango, as they say, right? So hopefully he'll also agree, and I really think that would be 75% of the way. The rest is getting it documented and, negotiating land positions, etc.
So you'll talk to him this week?
I think so, yeah.
So and then when do you anticipate meeting him in person?
In place on the Ukrainian side, how close do you think then you are to a total ceasefire?
Well, I hope it'll be over the next few days. I'd like to see. I know we have a big meeting with Russia tomorrow, and some great conversations hopefully will ensue. The people have done a great job. Marco Rubio's been great. Steve Witkoff's been great. Michael Waltz. Every one of them They've really stepped up. They are into it. They want to see two things. By far, number one is death of people that aren't citizens of our country, but they're people, just like you. They're people, and we want to stop. And we also don't want to give billions and hundreds of billions of dollars away. We're in there for $350 billion. And there was no reason this war would have never happened if I was president. So it's a very sad thing. Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy?
Hey, Mr. President, which car are you going to buy?
The one I like is that one.
How does this work?
And I want that same color.
All right. Are you going to put down a credit card? Elon, would you take a personal
No, I'm going to give him a
from the
check.
president?
I do it the old I give checks.
Sure.
I like checks, you know.
I think his credit's good.
Do you still have
You know, I like a check better than this modern system of all of a sudden there's money in your account, nobody knows. I like signing a check. You sort of, but we're gonna pay, and I don't want a discount. He would give me a discount, but if I do a discount, they're gonna say, "Oh, he got benefit." I don't want any discounts.
What about a vanity plate?
Yeah, let's see. Truth.
All right.
Truth. Truth.
Sure.
That one got you by surprise.
Playlist gets downloaded as well. You can thump your music.
Yeah.
You can do it.
The
I
sound
just looked
system's
at
amazing.
I looked at that dashboard. You can do anything.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
you buying a Tesla will boost Tesla sales and boost
Well, I
their
hope
stock?
it does. Look.
Was that your goal
I
by
care
doing
about
this?
one thing. When somebody's a great patriot, they shouldn't be hurt. He's a great patriot. He didn't know me from Adam until we met a little bit when I was in my first term, but he came out, he endorsed me very strongly, and I admired that, I respected that, and I respected him for years. I respected him. And when there was a chance to help our government, you know, you're not going to use an average person. Some people would say, well, let's use somebody that failed in business for his whole life. You know, this guy has been amazing. And the kind of thinking is it's from a different age. It's really from a different age. When we said, let's cut 2%, he said, let's cut 60%. And he turned out to be right. And a lot of people are just not here. They don't work for us. I mean, they're getting checks and they don't work. And you know, Peter, look, we have so many different stats and so many different figures. And it's so embarrassing to us as a country. No, we're going to have a streamlined country with good people. And one of the reasons, and I called for it wasn't a cabinet meeting, it was just a meeting of some cabinet members and Elon. The one thing, and I think he agrees with me 100%, it's one thing to cut, but we want to cut the wrong people, meaning we want to cut people that aren't doing the job. We want to keep the right people.
Absolutely.
And I said, I don't want to just say we're going to cut 50%. I want to cut the people that aren't doing the job, the people that aren't there, the people that are scamming the system. And he agrees with that 100%.
And are you sure you don't want to take a test drive?
I'd love to do it. Maybe I'll do it some other time.
Do you really want to keep working with you throughout your first term? I mean, is there going to be an end date for the two of you working together?
I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day. I think he'll know when it's time.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't want to stay around. He
He
just,
goes 130
although I think he does like it. There's no place like the White House. Okay, so maybe
Would you want to stay?
I don't think that. I think he wants to get the job done, get back to his businesses. That's what I think.
I just want to. I'll stay as long as it's useful and productive, and if I can help the country, I'll stay and do so.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
President Trump.
Good-looking guy here.
Elon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Pulitzer Prize. It's nice, Susie. Huh?
Okay, an extraordinary playback. President Trump, Elon Musk, and of course, ex-Musk, who steals the show on a regular basis. But I have to say, I really want a Tesla now. So we've been going back and forth at the studio. Should I get a truck? Should I get a Tesla? Maybe comment on it if you'd like to. But I love how President Trump really showcased not only a great American company and calling Elon Musk a great American patriot, and Elon saying, I'll stay as long as it takes the White House to help serve the American people. But regardless of where you feel about electric or gas or what have you on a number of different issues, private property rights are inherent to the American people, and President Trump coming out swinging peacefully and patriotically, of course, in support of an incredible American company, just stating that. Can you imagine another car company in the last 30 years being like Tesla? And I think the consensus is no there. Just wanted to highlight from the Business Roundtable, where we actually don't control that camera in the press pool. We do every effort to make sure that we cover everything and give you unbridled access here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live. They left the room most likely due to travel or time constraints, and this just happens when you're sharing in that press pool. But stick with us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live as we bring you all of this access to President Trump, Vice President Vance, and also the 119th Congress. Also, the CR vote passing H.R. 1968 without objection, and we will send that vote to you now to share with you what happened on the House floor.
On this vote, the yeas are 217, the nays are 213. The bill is passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
217 to 213, one Democrat joining Republicans, one Republican joining the Democrats in that. So that is passed now to fully fund the government, and that will be going on to the Senate, ultimately to President Trump's desk for a signature. But now we also have comments from House Speaker Mike Johnson regarding this CR vote, and we will send that playback over to you right now.
Well, this was a big vote on the House floor. The Republicans stood together, and we had one Democrat vote with us to do the right thing, and that is to fund the government. This was a clean CR. It freezes funding. It's a responsible thing to do, and we're ensuring that troops continue to get their paychecks and TSA agents continue to do their work and be paid, and essential workers on the border and elsewhere doing their jobs. It's shameful what happened on the Democrat side. They engaged in a misinformation campaign. They put out talking points about the bill on Friday before the bill was even filed, which was Saturday afternoon. They've been lying and misrepresenting the facts about what's in the bill, and the American people can read it for themselves. It's only 99 pages long. We did our job today, and it's shameful that they will stop at nothing. They will suggest that this bill is something that it's not, and they will run out the clock to shut down the government in a desperate attempt to stop the America First agenda. But I will tell you that President Trump and Republicans in Congress will stop at nothing to deliver on that agenda. We are going to continue to work hard. We will continue to stick together and get this job done, and it's an essential one. Now that the government funding bill has been passed out of the House, we send it to the Senate, and it falls on the desk of Chuck Schumer. He is the leader of the Democrats on that side, and he must determine whether he wants to fund the government, do the responsible thing, or whether he wants to shut the government down. And I certainly hope that there are enough Democrats in the Senate who have a conscience who will do the right thing by the American people and take care of business over there. So, any questions? Anybody?
Are you expecting a shutdown?
I certainly hope not. I believe they'll do it. I believe the Republicans will stick together in the Senate as we have in the House. And I hope there are at least a number of Democrats in the Senate who will do the right thing. If not, this will be on their shoulders, and everybody in America knows that.
Mr. Speaker, on the other legislative undertaking, reconciliation, some senators yesterday suggested that they can get the ball rolling by sometime like August, which is far beyond your timeline.
August is far too late. No, we're going to move that ball a lot faster than that, and we'll be talking with our colleagues and friends, Republican leadership in the Senate about this. They will be working the rest of this week, and then I think both chambers are doing district work next week. When we get back, this will begin in earnest, and we'll have leaders and lieutenants, committee chairs of jurisdiction in both chambers working together to begin that process, to finish up the resolution and move forward with budget reconciliation. That's going to be a very important thing for the country.
A rescissions package, a lot of folks have spoken about that in part with this continuing resolution. What's the status of that?
We anticipate that we will get a rescissions package from the White House as soon as all the calculations are made. The reason we took this step now is to allow for that process to continue to play out. And the DOGE efforts and the other things that are happening in the administration are very important for the American people, because ultimately what we're going to be able to do is downsize the size and scope of the federal government, make it work more efficiently and effectively for the people, and identify these extraordinary areas of fraud, waste, and abuse and eliminate that. So a rescission request from the White House would come over appropriately in the right timing when they have the calculations done, and Congress will do its job there. We are going to deliver for the American people.
Thank you, guys.
We're not sure yet. They're working on the calculations, which is the reason we could not include it today. But we do anticipate that. We're going to work hand in hand with the White House, and I want to compliment President Trump on his ability to be so involved that he's watching this step by step. He is determined to deliver for the people, and we are as well. So this is a well-coordinated effort between the White House and our Senate Republican colleagues and House Republicans. So we'll continue to work in that partnership to get this agenda done. Thank you.
So a successful passing of that package there, H.R. 1968, the continuing resolution to keep the government open, and House Speaker Mike Johnson not mincing words that if the Democrats block this, they are hindering the American people and the business of the federal government. So a lot of news this afternoon, but we're fortunate that you are here with us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live. Please join us tomorrow for some fun Irish theme events as we look forward to St. Patrick's Day next Monday, and of course celebrations this weekend, but Vice President Vance and President Trump celebrating with Irish colleagues and also delegates from the Republic of Ireland. It will be a star-studded day, a breakfast and a lunch as well, so be sure to tune in tomorrow morning for all of that coverage. But get your America First updates and exclusive offers right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network by going to rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. Of course, what a beautiful evening, 6:12 Eastern at the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the sun setting on what was a strong and successful day once again for this brilliant administration. For everyone here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live, I'm Robert McNeely. Good night, God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Parents, do your kids know what courage really means? It's about standing up for America even when there's a target on your back. That's why Mike Huckabee's team created the Kids Guide to the Courage of the President. This important guide tells kids everything they need to know about President Trump's unwavering courage, and you can get it for free. With your free order, you'll receive free bonus gifts, including the Kids Guide to President Trump and a Christmas ornament commemorating Trump's call for us to fight. Get it all for free at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.